Good afternoon. Capital Program Oversight Committee meeting is called to order. Mr. Wetherell, do we have any members of the public who are registered to speak?
There's one public speaker, Jason Pinheiro.
Good afternoon, CPOC. Good afternoon, Ronnie Hakem. Nice to see you again. My topic for this committee will be, essentially, we need more stations that are ADA compliant. And here's why. Because we're not complying with the ADA Act. So therefore, the MTA could, in sensitive way, committing a crime. So that's why we need stations like 68th Street Hunter College. Despite the 69th Street NIMBYs, that station should be ADA accessible to benefit those who study Hunter College. And stations like Broadway Junction, that needs to be ADA accessible. And of course, we need to invest money in our capital program projects. And especially, we should question why the delays on the Sea Beach rehabilitation that was supposed to end phase 1 a couple of months ago is delayed, and we want an explanation for that. And we want more investigation regarding the incident on Friday, if it's our fault, if we need upgrades to our infrastructure, and all the upgrades should be done in a timely fashion. So let's invest money in our capital construction, and let's ask Mayor de Blasio to put money in our pockets for that. So that's all I have to say this month.
Thank you. Are there any changes to the work plan, Mr. Spiro?
No changes to the work plan.
Then we're ready to go to the capital program update and progress report on Enhanced Station Initiative. Mr. Montanil.
Thank you. The focus of my discussion will be on the first 3 packages of the Enhanced Station Initiative indicated in the circled areas on the map on the right. Package 1 includes 3 stations in Brooklyn, Package 2 includes 4 stations in Queens, and Package 3 includes 4 stations in Manhattan. The Enhanced Station Initiative includes a new approach to rapidly transform subway stations across the system. The initiative will focus on the continued responsibility of providing a state of good repair in stations, and starting with the revision to the station guidelines, dramatically change the look and feel of the stations. Customer improvements being considered include new features such as canopies and informational totems at station entrances, a new family of coordinated furniture, integrated technology including Wi-Fi and cellular connectivity, improved wall, floor, and ceiling finishes, new signage, wayfinding and lighting, and the chance to declutter the station, where possible routing the conduits and cables in a consolidated path for better aesthetics. A design-build delivery method is being used for the first time in the station's program area. Design-build is the process whereby a single contractor is responsible for both the design and construction of the project. It allows construction to start much sooner than the traditional design, bid, build method, fast-tracking the project and saving time, allowing the contractor to get in, get done, and get out. This is the information on the Package 1 award. The contractor is a joint venture between Sitnalta Construction Corporation and Forte Construction Corporation. The lead designers are Urbon Architects and Hacks Engineers. The contract was awarded November 30th, 2016, and includes the 3 stations on the R line in Brooklyn: Prospect Avenue, 53rd Street, and Bay Ridge Avenue. The contract is on schedule for a November 2017 completion and is on budget. The first limited construction permit was issued 113 days after the design builder came on board. Using the design build delivery method, we took advantage of the fact that the entire project did not have to be completely designed before the construction started. The contractor brought the early work to 100%. In this case, removals at 53rd Street, platform edge demolition and reconstruction, and waterproofing at Prospect Avenue. A construction permit was then granted, and the contractor was able to commence with the work. This first limited permit allowed us to bypass the 53rd Street station on March 27th, and we are on schedule for a reopening in the fall of 2017. We are managing what we see as the top 3 risks for Package 1. Track access, unforeseen site conditions, and late deliveries can delay the already aggressive schedule. Constant communication and having a co-located team has proved beneficial in mitigating these risks. Weekly updates will be provided for long lead items, such as informational totems and dashboards, to ensure delivery dates are met. The program facilitator has held 4 risk workshops, and the entire ESI program are using lessons learned to inform upcoming packages. Here are some photos of the work accomplished. The photo on the left shows the platform demolition, and the one on the right shows new rebar being installed. The best way to describe this work is that of an assembly line. Behind the demolition crew is the rebar crew, and behind the rebar crew is the concrete crew. On the left, you can see the rebar crew has passed through, and on the right, the concrete edge has been poured at an elevation ready to accept the new flooring. And while this may seem like rough demolition work, there is a delicate side to this work. Throughout the weekend, over 200 workers were in and out of the station. Not only did they have to know what work they were performing, but also where they were performing that work and what work was going on next to them. The planning and choreography of the crews took much longer than the 53 hours it took to perform the work. The photo on the left is that of the barrier that was constructed along the platform edge, and on the right is the contractor working safely behind that barrier. One of the key points to any design-build contract is to turn the site over to the contractor, and the barrier does just that. It gives the contractor full access to the site without affecting service on the line. Here is the status of our next 2 packages. Package 2, the 4 stations in Queens, was approved by the board in early April and was awarded on April 14th. The RFP for Package 3, the 4 stations in Manhattan, is right now pending release. Thank you.
IEC?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. In our initial report on this program, let me start with the schedule and the budget review. For schedule, Package 1 has kept the schedule with a planned closure of 53rd Street, which commenced on March 27th. One thing we're watching closely on the schedule is some recent delays to the start of fabrication of dashboard, totems, and other critical design elements for these improvements. Those delays need to be recovered or mitigated to avoid impacting construction. Package 2, as you heard, has just gotten going. Looking at the budget, Package 1 is on budget, and the cost contingency remains intact. Turning to a few observations on the program, I think we should recognize the project team for their organization. They've co-located the management, the key consultants, representatives of the user groups into one project office, something that's cited as best practice by the design-build business, and it certainly has started out expediting information and resolving issues quickly. We also want to support the program team's efforts to improve the schedule control of the fabrication of the long lead items that I talked about earlier. And finally, the project has taken a careful look backwards at their first package and put together a process for assessing the design development and categorizing the lessons learned from their first experience in order to improve particular details and requirements, schedules for the remaining packages. That certainly will benefit the program as a whole. That's my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on the Enhanced Station Initiative? Mr. Albert.
While it's not the case on the 4th Avenue line in Brooklyn, there will be some places where there are some historical elements in the station, such as wonderful old tile work, and I just wanted to make sure we have a policy that while we're going to relight and put a fancy electronic gizmos, that some of the history of the system will not be obscured by these new treatments.
That is consistent with the station design guidelines.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Signals and train control.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Gomez, and today I will brief you on the status of several projects in the Signals and Train Control Division. I will update you on Integrated Service Information and Management projects, which is the ISIM projects. ISIM Module 1, which is the Train Position and Monitoring System, or TPMS. This contract has been awarded to the Yonkers Electric and the U.S. Information Systems as a joint venture in November of 2015. This contract captures the field data from the signaling system and provides it to Module 3, which I'll speak to next. The contract is on schedule and within budget. Project has been making good progress and is doing good work in the field detail design. ISIM Module 3, large-scale display and data warehouse at the RCC. This contract is in procurement. Proposals were received last Wednesday, April 19th, and are under review. The project will be awarded the third quarter of 2017 with a delay of 2 quarters. This delay is due mainly to the change in scope and budget. All overlapping functions between the QBL ATS and the ISIM-B project were cleaned up, and the smart dispatching function was dropped. Furnishing the large-scale display for the entire B division and a data warehouse for the subway operations remains in. Total project is down to $100 million as a result of the scope change. The interlockings, the following projects are the 6 interlockings that we have currently in construction. All are running on schedule and within budget except for 2. The substantial completion of the 2 interlockings at Union Turnpike and Continental 71st Avenue is now projected for May of 2018, and Dyer Avenue now is projected for November of 17. Dyer also has a budget mod in progress for approximately $7 million. Both projects have developed detailed in-service schedules, and all TA service needs to support these in-services have been agreed upon by all supporting departments. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
IEC?
Good afternoon. My name is Nabil Gali. I'll present the IEC's report on the New York City Transit Signal and Train Control Program. This afternoon, we'll address the Integrated Service Information and Management B Division Program, as well as the interlocking signal modernization projects. With respect to Module 1 of the Integrated Service Information and Management Program for Division B, the project is currently in the construction phase and remains on schedule and within budget. With respect to Module 3, proposals were received on April 19. The IEC is concerned that due to project complexity, it will be challenging to award this project by the third quarter. The project team announced a reduction in project budget due to a reduction in the scope of work. With respect to various interlocking projects, as reported by the project team and based on the traffic light report presented at the December 2016 CPOC meeting, interlocking projects at 34th Street, West 4th Street, and Roosevelt Avenue are currently on schedule. Dyer Avenue Line Signal project is currently delayed by 5 months, and additional slippage was reported by the project team for Union Turnpike and 71st Avenue interlockings. This concludes IEC's report on the Signals and Train Control Program.
Questions or comments on signals and train control? Yes, Mr.
I'd just like to make a brief comment on Module 3 and not so that there's an understanding, at least as far as I understand, this is extremely important. because it goes directly to the reliability and dependability of our system. And I mean, at this point, we're talking about design and there being a challenge to get this thing done on time. I would appreciate if there was some focus on this, because it does speak to at least long-range solutions to some of the problems we're having with service reliability. That's my comment on that.
Okay, report on systems and security. Mr. Beanstalk.
Good afternoon. My name is Mark Beanstalk, and I'm the Program Officer for Systems and Security. Today, I will be updating you on the following projects in my program area: the recently completed VHF radio system, the Flushing Line Public Address Customer Information Screen project, Help Points and Passenger Station Local Area Networks, a new initiative to advance the delivery of train arrival information on the B Division, and finally, the Bus Radio and Bus Command Center projects. The VHF radio project was awarded to Alcatel-Lucent in 2012. In 2015, Nokia purchased Alcatel-Lucent and took over this contract. This project successfully upgraded the old New York City Transit VHF radio system to a new system, which complies with all FCC rules and regulations. The project was substantially completed within budget in December 2016. Closeout activities are continuing. The Flushing Line Public Address Systems contract was awarded in December 2016. This project will install new state-of-the-art public address systems on 21 Flushing Line stations from Main Street in Queens to Times Square in Manhattan. Stations will also be equipped with new LCD customer information screens. A new PACIS system was already installed at the 34th Street Hudson Yards station and is not part of this contract. The contract has a 27-month duration and a total project budget of $53.12 million. There are no issues to report at this time. We are exploring options to accelerate the deployment of CIS screens at the stations in order to advance the delivery of train arrival information generated by the Flushing ATS system. Help Points are one of our most successful customer communications systems. Nearly 2,500 Help Points have been installed in 399 stations since installation began in 2014. Help Points will be installed in 459 stations by the end of 2017. The 9 Sea Beach Line stations, 3 ESI stations, and new Cortlandt Street stations are planned to open up in 2018 with a full complement of Help Points. The total cost of the Help Point program is approximately $250 million. The PSLAN, or Passenger Station Local Area Network, is this in-station network which allows New York City Transit to quickly and efficiently deploy new IP-based technology and services in passenger stations. The PSLAN connects the stations to New York City Transit's data centers over our existing wide area network. The PSLAN installation program also began in 2014, primarily to support the Help Point initiative. Like Help Points, completion of all stations will conclude with the 9 Sea Beach Line stations, 3 ESI stations, and Cortlandt Street station in 2018. The total cost of the PSLAN program is approximately $110 million. This is the first report to CPOC on the new B Division train arrival project. This project grew out of a technology investigation and pilot which began several years ago to identify a way to provide countdown clocks on the B Division. The technology has now matured and can be used to provide train arrival information for all B Division subway stations. The project is being implemented by the Department of Subways, MTA IT, and Transit Wireless under the management of CPM. This project will install new LCD customer information screens in B Division stations to display train arrival and customer information. Beacons installed on trains broadcast information to receivers in passenger stations. The information is processed by New York City Transit's iTrack system and transmitted back to the stations to be displayed on the customer information screens as well as on the app. The system has been implemented as a proof of concept on 8 Broadway Line stations and most recently at the main fare control areas of the 2nd Avenue subway stations. These are photos of the new LCD screens installed at 96th Street, where it displays train departure information, and 86th Street station on 2nd Avenue. 86th Street displays train arrival information. This is a photo of the screen installed in the fare control area at the 63rd Street station. The bus radio system project was awarded to PTG just over a year ago. Under this project, PTG is designing and installing a new digital bus radio system for New York City Transit and MTA Bus. To date, we have completed surveying all base station sites citywide. We recently achieved the critical design review milestone ahead of schedule and are proceeding with final design. We are also preparing for the pilot installation on the first 200 buses. At this time, there are no delays to report to the project contractual critical milestones. We are awaiting a final report from the engineering consultant on the East New York antenna tower, which will require some remediation work to safely support the new antenna loads. The Bus Command Center construction contract was awarded to MPCC Corporation in June 2015, and construction activities are underway. To date, the contractor has completed the foundation and started erecting the steel superstructure. The precast exterior wall panels have been delivered to the site and are also being installed. Over the next 6 months, the building will be enclosed and interior work will commence. We have established 4 interim reporting milestones for major construction activities, and their status is shown on this slide. We did experience some delay due to the bankruptcy of the original steel fabricator and erector, but a new subcontractor was identified and engaged. In addition, there was some delay due to the redesign of the precast exterior wall panels and change to the anti-graffiti coating. Substantial completion of the building is currently forecast for November 2017. The building will be placed in revenue service when the bus radio contractor completes the installation of the radio system, dispatch consoles, and associated equipment. This is a rendering of the new building. The operating theater occupies the space at the rear of the building, that's shown on the left side of the rendering, and the front section houses offices and support spaces. These photos show progress at the site, starting on the top left with the foundation work and continuing with the steel erection through March, and the recent precast concrete exterior panel installation, which began this month. This concludes my report.
Thank you. IEC.
Good afternoon. My name is Calvin Gordon. I'm presenting the IEC's review on 4 projects in the Systems and Security Program. These projects are Flushing Line Public Address System, the B Division Train Arrival, Bus Radio System, and the Bus Command Center. Looking at the Flushing Line Public Address System as far as the schedule and budget review, the IEC notes that the project is currently on schedule for March 2019 substantial completion. Additionally, as the project was just only awarded in December of 2016, there are no issues with the project budget. Next slide. B Division Train Arrival System. And looking at the project schedule and budget, the IEC finds that the project is on schedule. The intent is to roll out these stations on a line-by-line basis, and details for a plan to achieve an accelerated delivery of all 271 B stations is being worked on by the project team, and IEC will review once it's finalized. The IEC also finds that the project is currently within budget. Looking at the B Division Train Arrival System, observations, the IEC wants to note that this is a predicted method for train arrival. Therefore, the accuracy is based on a real-time information which is generated by RTO. In regards to the accelerated schedule that was mentioned earlier, the IEC feels close coordination with transit wireless efforts is essential in achieving the rollout of all remaining stations. Further, it suggests that an IPS, an integrated project schedule, be developed and used to assist in achieving this goal. Bus radio system. Looking at the schedule and budget, the IEC concurs that the project remains on budget. The IEC notes that the contract baseline schedule has been approved and the project is currently on schedule. NYC bus radio project substantial completion is remaining at January 2021. IEC observations on this project. The IEC notes that the CDR was delivered on schedule, and as the agency has stated, was very comprehensive. This was a major accomplishment. As Mark pointed out in the critical issues and milestone section of his slides, based on the structural analysis performed by the contractor, the existing East New York tower, which is one of 7 base stations required for the pilot program, needs some structural remediation and repair work. This could pose a schedule risk to the pilot program. However, the contractor has identified mitigation strategies such as a phased repair approach in order to minimize the schedule impact. This work should commence on or about June of this year. As far as interim milestones, we feel the interim milestones should be mitigated further to ease schedule compliance. The current contractor's accepted schedule depicts potential slippage in future interim milestones. It is not unreasonable, however, to expect the project could mitigate these future potential delays over the course of the next few years. Moving to the Bus Command Center, as far as schedule and budget, as reported by the project team, the IC notes that the current CPM schedule depicts a 78 calendar delay. The IC concurs with the current substantial completion date forecasted. Regarding the budget, the IC concurs that the project is within budget and there's no issues with the project budget contingency. Lastly, the IC observation. As the bus radio system and the bus command center are inherently linked together, the IC concurs that the BCC will be completed in time to support the bus radio system, and the project team and the contractor are working diligently to meet the project goals. This completes the IC's review.
With regards to the B Division train arrival, it's great news that there's an expedited schedule. What are the factors that contributed to that schedule being advanced? Oh, and a second question, sorry. So 271 screens are going to be implemented. 271 stations will have screens. How many screens per station? Is it 2, like one at the entrance and then one on the platform?
I'll answer your second question first. There'll be 1 screen at the main fare control area, so people will be able to see the time of arrival prior to entering the system, and then there'll be 2 screens on every platform as well. As I said earlier, the information will also be available on the web as well as the app. Now that all stations have both cellular and Wi-Fi, use of the app is much easier when people are below ground.
And to your first question, perhaps the best answer is what our customers tell us, which is that countdown clock information is one of the things they find incredibly valuable and helpful. And so the more we can do, the better.
Anything else? Then
My turn.
The Canarsie Tunnel rehab risk assessment and the East Side Access CQ33 storage yard risk assessment are both in your committee book. For capital program status, our Executive Director, Ronnie Higg.
Thank you. I'd like to present the commitment and completion performance highlights through March of this year, which are in your book starting on page 67. In terms of commitments, in 2017, our agencies plan to commit a total of $7.3 billion, including 51 major commitments that we will track throughout the year. Through March, the MTA made 10 of those major commitments. 8 were on time and 2 were delayed but have now been achieved. 4 major commitments remain delayed but are still expected to be achieved this year. Through March, agencies committed $1.1 billion versus a $1.4 billion year-to-date goal. The shortfall is mainly due to the 4 delayed major commitments. But by year-end, the MTA forecasts meeting its 2017 commitments goal. In terms of completions, in 2017, agencies plan a total of $5 billion in completions, including 34 major completions that we will track throughout the year. The MTA has achieved 4 of its 5 major completions year to date. 1 major completion remains delayed but is still expected to be achieved this year. So through March, Agencies completed $382 million versus a $482 million year-to-date goal. The shortfall is mostly due to several smaller projects at NYCT falling behind schedule, but by year-end, the MTA forecasts meeting or exceeding its completions goal. That concludes the commitments and completions report, Mr. Chair.
Are there any questions or comments on it? Mr. Pally. Anyone else? Then I'll ask Mike Wetherell to take us through the traffic light, the quarterly traffic light reports.
Good afternoon. I would like to bring your attention to the traffic light report for the fourth quarter 2016, starting on page 83. Agency representatives are here to address any questions you may have. First, the Capital Core Program traffic light report. A total of 253 projects were reviewed in the fourth quarter. 53 in design and 200 in the construction phase. Of the 253 projects reported, 62% or 157 were designated green, 19% or 49 were designated yellow, and 19% or 47 were designated red. This is an increase of 21 red projects from the third quarter 2016 report, 26 versus 47. For each of the 47 projects designated red this quarter, the agencies have prepared a one-page report stating the problem and corrective action. Next, the Capital Sandy Program traffic light report. Starting on page 143, this covers the Sandy program. A total of 92 active projects were reviewed in the fourth quarter. 2 in design, 17 in post-design to construction, and 73 in the construction phase. Of the 92 projects reviewed, 72% or 66 were designated green, 13% or 12 were designated yellow, and 15% or 4 are designated red. This is an equal number of red projects to the third quarter 2016 report, 14 versus 14. For the 14 projects designated red this quarter, the agencies have also prepared a one-page report stating the problem and corrective action. That concludes the report.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments on that?
Could I just add in response? Apologize. In response to your request about the Long Island Railroad project, Commissioner, on page 136 there is a briefing sheet, but we will provide, obviously, a more detailed explanation. You're welcome.
There's nothing else. May I have a motion to enter executive session in accordance with New York Public Officers Law, Section 105(1)A, which involves matters which will imperil the public safety if disclosed. Second. All in favor? We are in executive session. May I have a motion to go out of executive session? Second. All in favor? We are out of executive session. May I have a motion to adjourn? Second. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.